G'day folks, this is a lagoon on the Ovens River floodplain, and today I'm going to be throwing a couple of yabby nets in.
Hey you!
You're watching Robbie Fishing. Now the nets I'm going to be using today are the collapsible bait traps, and I've got them both baited up with Good O's dry dog food. Now this is a lagoon on the floodplain of the Ovens River, and it was only about 6 weeks ago that this was in major flood. Probably 2 months ago I suppose now. You can see the debris on the fence along here. The water's probably a couple of metres higher then than what it is now. It's quite deep out there. I'm standing on what's left of the track, and there's still a bit of water on the track. This is a very low-lying track. It's deep in there, and there's a really deep hole over there. I've caught yabbies in all of these spots here in the past, but never anything really big. Anyway, let's get the nets in. Well, first of all, let's work out which of these little pools I'm going to put the nets in. Then I'll put them in and give them a soak for an hour or so. The first net I might just put in here is very snaggy in here. I've just got to be a bit careful of that. But I reckon just in here next to the bank for the first net. It's sunk and now it's rolling down. It's found a spot to sit. This little lagoon here is quite a deep little pool, but look at all the little fish jumping around over here. They'll be little carp. Since the floods, there's just been an absolute blowout in the number of small carp around. And I reckon this lagoon will be no exception. I know there's probably 3 or 4 feet deep out there. I think that's on the bottom now, is it? Righto, let's give them an hour or so and see how we go. There's so much life in these swamps. There's little things jumping around all over the place. Probably minnows or carp, frogs even. You can see heaps of minnows here on the track. Let's have an explore over here. I've got my gumboots on. Ugh, I won't be walking too far over there, I don't think. It's very soggy. Look at the debris washed up on the fence over there. Even way up there at the highest point, there's still debris on it. That's where one of my traps is up there. This is the track right here. But you can actually see here the water's still flowing. Only just. Just draining off the floodplain. Look at this. Yabby holes. More yabby holes. Maybe I should have put the nets in here. There's a few yabby holes around the edge there. Look here, just beside the track. Yabby holes. Yabby hole. Yabby hole. There's all these big... Oh, they're not actually big, but there's all those yabby holes just in the mud. Right next to the track. Right, it's been 1 hour. Has 1 hour been long enough to deliver the goods? No. There's a couple of little minnows. And that's it. Alright. Now I'll leave them in for the long haul. What about net number 2 on the 1 hour check? It has nothing. Nothing at all. It's a bit disappointing. I'll leave them in until either later today or tomorrow. I might even leave them in all night if I'm not back in. I'm going out this afternoon, so if I'm not back in time, I'll check them tomorrow morning. Righto folks, it's been just on 24 hours and it's time to check these nets again. Now I'm going to put some water in this bucket because I am full of optimism. If I can get a dozen or so big yabbies, I'll take a feed home. Although I've got to admit, most of the yabbies I've caught here haven't been big, although I have kept the feed from here before. Alright, undo me rope. And the moment of truth. It's heavy, it's something in it. Oh yeah, there's quite a few yabbies in there. There's a heap of yabbies in there. There's not a lot of kicking though. Even now they're kicking. Oh, look at this. Whoa, look at them all. 1, 2, they're not monsters, but they're bigger than I expected for here. 3, 4. There's a little carp in there, that might be going back in the water. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's a little bit smaller one. 11, 12. That one's dead. 13, 14. That one's a bit small, he can go back in. He can go back in. 17. A little more still than that. 17, 18, including this dead one, which unfortunately is a bigger one. They were probably fighting inside the net, and he got deaded. I'll put him back in there and he'll become yabby food. So there was 17 yabbies, 1 carp, and of those 17 yabbies I threw 3 or 4 back, and I kept probably a dozen, 12 or 14. They weren't big, but they're big enough for a feed. Beauty! Now net number 2 is in this deep little pond. There's a lot of fish jumping over here. I'll be surprised if I haven't got a heap of carp in this net, to be quite honest. Anyway, I'll unwrap it from the little spike. Oh, there's weight in here. Well, there's yabbies in here, not as many as the other ones, but there's some quite large ones. They're not moving. They haven't been killing each other, have they? The other ones didn't move until I kicked them out, and here we go. 1, 2, and they're not bad yabbies. I know they're not big for a lot of waterways, but they're quite decent for here, I think. 3, 4, 5, 6. Another one, another dead one. So I've kept probably 18 or 20 yabbies, and I've had 2 dead ones. No carp, I'm surprised about that. I've lost count. Was it 17 or 18? Well, look, I've caught about 25 yabbies. 2 of them were dead because they've probably been fighting inside the net. So I put that back in there for feed. Well, folks, they're not the biggest yabbies in the world, but I've got myself a nice feed of 15 or 20 medium-sized yabbies, and I couldn't be happier. Catching yabbies on a floodplain. That lagoon was under 2 metres of water just a month or 2 back. Here's a tip for anybody cooking yabbies. You can see on this big fella here, he's got a few white spots on his back. That's salt. That's salt water. I'm soaking them in salt water for a little while before I cook them. Not long, only 10 minutes or so. It's not to purge the yabby and clean the yabby, but it's to get off any parasites. Sometimes they get these little white parasites. They look like microscopic leeches or something. I don't know what they are. They're little white little balls, but you put a bit of salt in the water, put them in a little bit of salt water, and those parasites will fall straight off before you cook them. Add a bit of vinegar to my water. A bit of lemon. Add a bit of salt to the water. Salt, vinegar and lemon. The winning formula for cooking yabbies. As they're soaking, and I can see a few little parasites on the bottom. There's not many. When you get them out of farm dams, there's usually a lot. The lemon juice, vinegar, salt water combo is getting warmer. It actually smells very nice before I even put the yabbies in. We have boil. We have fogged up lens. They only take a couple of minutes to boil. You can see here that the tail separates from the body. That's normally a sign that they're done. So they've all got separated tails. Time to take them out. That's a good example. I tell you what, if this camera could pick up smells, you would all be so jealous right now because they smell amazing. I'll wait for them to cool down now, then I'll shell them, and then I'll eat them. What an unexpected surprise this was from the fishing gods. A Christmas present from the fishing gods. I didn't know what to expect going yabbying on the floodplain straight after the floods. It was only a couple of months ago it was flooded, and I thought maybe I might catch 8 or 10, maybe a dozen small ones, maybe 1 or 2 nice enough to keep, and I'll probably throw them all back. But to get a nice feed of 18 or 20 half-decent yabbies, well, what an absolute pleasant surprise. I'm so excited. I'm going to go and start shelling shortly and start eating. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this yabbying on the floodplains and feed of yabbies video.